Leading for efficacy. Why don't we know about it? And why don't we prioritise it? Collective teacher efficacy has been a part of school leadership speak for almost a decade or more. It has in fact been around for much longer than this. It has just come into greater focus over recent times. Generally, efficacy is about confidence and belief. We hear about self-efficacy and now collective teacher efficacy. It has to be more than the rah, 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 we are really good and we believe what we do is right. It is not about making teachers feel good about themselves, though we all want this. It is much more, so much deeper and way less airy-fairy than it sounds. Vaguely, collective teacher efficacy, CTE, is the collective belief of teachers in their ability to positively affect students. It puts aside all those justifications as to why students might not achieve, the stories of attendance, socioeconomic impact and the like, and it looks to the difference that a teacher's practice makes on students' progress and achievement. It is an explicit understanding and a belief that teachers cause learning. John Hattie, and we love him, his meta-analysis says just this: the number one impact on student learning is teacher efficacy. Then why don't we really deep dive into this, and why can't teachers and leaders really explain it well? What professional learning have you done on it, and what have you led your staff to understand about it? It isn't a static belief. It's a process that promotes meaningful growth. It empowers teachers to take control of learning, giving them autonomy and justifying why things happen, knowing why they teach as they do. Let's go back. Teachers cause learning. They take responsibility for learning beyond planning, teaching, and assessing. Efficacy is deep. As a teacher, I am responsible for each student's learning. I have the responsibility to understand the impact that I have on my students, to analyse what I teach and how I teach, and to measure my impact. Teaching almost is a science. Measure my impact. How do you measure that? Impact is based on evidence, on data, on feedback. Efficacy requires a deep analysis of content relevance, teacher pedagogy, students' results, and skill. It is more complicated than just believing you can and do make a difference. Jump into Hattie's work on effect size. Give me something tangible. Okay, a process for collective teacher efficacy. Number one, do we really know where we want to be? Are we sure our expectations are right? It is here that teachers define what a year's growth will look like and should look like. High expectations are set. Teachers set the benchmark, and they may need some coaching from you to get there. Shared collective understandings, setting the target. There has to be collective outcomes. Number two, analysis of current growth. Do we understand how our students learn? Where they are making growth, their starting point, that second touchstone. How did they get there? What effect did the teacher have? Who are we having the greatest impact on? Why do they grow? How do we know? Number three, stock take. Well, what is it that we do? How do we teach? What resources, materials, and pedagogy do we currently use? Why do we? And why do we use what we use? Does it work? How do we know? Number four, challenge the status quo, our beliefs and our assumptions. Where is the evidence to show that what we are doing really works? How do we measure the impact? Number five, so where are our soft points? Where are our gaps? Where are our problems? Where are we really successful? And what problems do we need to solve? Are there any new possibilities? That's number six. What do we need to keep doing, stop doing, and start doing? Why? Answer why to each of these. We can't do something because it's just a good idea or the school down the road is doing it. Justify your decisions to each other. Question assumptions of practice. Know why and what. Why do you do something and what makes it happen? And what happens because you do? Number 7, make a plan. Plan for success collectively. If we're making changes, let's make it meaningful. Feed evidence in to support and challenge the change. Know thy impact. Jump into an understanding about lesson study and scrutiny. It is a vehicle here. Plan lessons together. One lesson, go deep. Teach it with everyone else watching. Scrutinize it, replan, reteach, refine it. Try new approaches. Attend closely to student engagement, progress and need. This part is hard. It takes teacher effort, relentless persistence, and resilient effort. Failure will be as much a part of this as will success. It calls for scrutiny of self and each other. Lesson plans are essential. Reflect, analyse, go deep. Have conversations about practice. Understand why the person in your team is there. What skills do they bring? And where are their blind spots? How do you impact on each other? Teachers are expected to develop each other. Collective teacher efficacy relies on reciprocal, responsive relationships. It's all about the culture, the team dynamic. Go back to Lencioni. Trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, results. So then what's your job as a leader? How do you lead collective teacher efficacy? Number 1, know what it is. And 2, know why it is important. Number 3, establish a climate and a culture that expects teachers to learn, to challenge, to reflect, and to grow. And then number 4, make sure that culture that you have is a daring culture. It must be safe to be challenged and to grow. Number 5, really look at your school ecosystems because they must support this way of working and thinking. From scheduling, from class release, when and where time is given to plan, to meet, to observe, to reflect. How do you set up processes to show that this is a valuable and important way of working? Number 6, know your team and how to coach each member of the squad as a team and as individuals. Number 7, learn and facilitate with them. Don't come with all the answers. Don't do stuff to them. Help the team find their own way. Allow teachers to make decisions. Challenge and support these. Number 8, value it. Collective teacher efficacy must be seen as important. Build commitment and focus on practice. Number 9, provide the professional learning as they need it. Just-in-time learning. Instructional knowledge and skills. Stuff you see they need and stuff they ask for. Number 10, create ways of collaboratively sharing skills and experiences. And number 11, deprivatize their practice. Open classrooms up to everyone. Be in classes often and not to evaluate, rather to learn. Peer-to-peer feedback. Collective teacher efficacy is about high expectations and quality assurance. It is about strategically decided practice, resulting in high impact learning. It is about deep teacher reflection, knowing why and how to get the best results. With this comes self-confidence. This is efficacy. Evidence tells me I am making the best impact I can. I'm not just working on a hunch. Confident teachers then teach better. They teach with depth and practice that they know works. Students get a much better deal. Leading teacher efficacy means working without the need to direct and to control. Many leaders can't do it like this, and they can't lead like this. If you can, the impact on your work is significant. Collective teacher efficacy is a process of school development planning and practice. If you learn to lead With collective teacher efficacy, your school development plan actually takes care of itself.